For someone who's new or just getting into minimalism, it might be difficult to decide where or what you want to start decluttering. Not even knowing where to start might make the task seem a little more tedious, and you might just want to push it off to another time. Today, I'm going to go over 3 simple but effective ways I began my decluttering process. And maybe by the end of this video, you might have an idea of how you would like to get started. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here, we talk about minimalism, building good habits, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you, and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and consider subscribing. Now, let's get started. Now, this first method we'll just call the box. And there are actually 2 ways I went about this. The first way is just placing a bin or a box somewhere around your house, and throughout the day or week, gradually throw things in there you think you want to declutter and live without. I like this idea because when you know that you want to declutter but you're not quite sure where to start, it kind of lets you begin at your own pace. I actually remember one time when I began decluttering, I went right into my closet and tried on every single article of clothing that I owned, and everything that wasn't comfortable, didn't fit right, or I just didn't like anymore was tossed into a box just like this for donation. And I kept doing this for around the first few weeks I was getting into minimalism, and was just shocked by how much stuff actually ended up in there. Now, the second method with this box is just a tad more aggressive. It's something along the lines of walking into a particular room with this box, and everything you want to part with, just put it in there. Now, I know this sounds a little bit like the first method, but without thinking too much about it, you are instinctually just putting things in this box that you're ready to get rid of. This whole box thing is a good starting point for decluttering because as long as it's sitting somewhere in your house, it gives you some time to see how life will go without whatever it is, and you're not necessarily committed to getting rid of it right away. Now, the next rule here is the 90-day rule. And this rule seems to have a few different meanings around the minimalism community. For me, it just means asking myself if I've used or worn something within the past 90 days, or if I will use something within the next 90 days. I really do like this method because it makes me ask myself, how often do I use or wear an item? If I haven't used something in the past 90 days, and I don't think I'll use it in the next 90 days, that means it's not getting used for about 6 months out of the year, and I could probably live without it. And usually when I do part with something that I don't use for half the year, it's not ever missed. Now, obviously this doesn't have to be a set number like 90 days. It can be whatever you want. In certain areas for me, like my camera gear for example, if something doesn't get used practically every other time I film, I hardly ever keep it. Mostly because camera stuff tends to be heavy, or it's just in the way of things I do use every time I film. I've personally limited myself to whatever fits in my camera bag. And I've really found myself parting with a lot of camera items and extra pieces that were always just in case items. Now, the last method here is so simple that it can be easily overlooked. And it's less of a method and kind of a question I decided to ask myself. And asking this question just makes the entire decluttering process stupid easy. And the question that I ask is, what do I want? Now, I know this is an incredibly broad question to ask myself, but it has in fact just made the entire decluttering process much easier. Taking one big step back, looking at my life and my possessions, I had to stop and ask myself, what do I want? What do I want to do? And what do I want to own? This simple question of asking what I want branched into other questions, like, would I still buy this if I didn't already own it? Does this still bring me happiness? Will I feel better not owning, thus not having to think about this? And does this align with my goals? I was really surprised by the ease of letting things go when I decided to start asking myself these questions. Rather than being pulled a little bit in each direction, it's helped clarify where I want to put my time and energy. This process of decluttering is going to look different for everybody, and everyone's going to have their own definition of what is essential. But I hope at least one of these methods makes the decluttering process just a little less stressful. Anyways, as always, I do appreciate your time watching this video. If you did get value out of it and you do like this type of content, consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.